Teisha with Shalom TV's news update for Monday, September the 15th, 2014. Israel has issued new travel warnings ahead of the approaching Jewish holidays. The country's National Security Council's Counter-Terrorism Bureau released a travel advisory today ahead of the high holidays, warning Israelis and Jews in Western Europe of the possible targeting of Jewish and Israeli targets by terror groups. The Counter-Terrorism Bureau said in a press release today, following the attack against the Jewish Museum in Brussels on May the 4th, there is concern of further attacks against Israelis and Jews throughout the world, particularly in Western Europe, from global jihad operatives, including the Islamic State, mainly from graduates of Syria and Iraq returning to their home countries. The travel warning was part of the biannual travel advisory released by the Bureau, which also advised Israelis considering visiting other parts of the world. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the threat of the Islamic State yesterday at the 4th Annual International Cybersecurity Conference at Tel Aviv University, where he said that Israel needs a responsible budget that supports its security concerns. The Prime Minister said we need funds for Iron Dome in order to deal with ISIS in the east, Hezbollah and Al-Qaeda in the north, and Hamas and Islamic Jihad in the south. He said the billions that were already invested in the Iron Dome system allowed the Israeli economy to continue to function during the recent crisis with Hamas in Gaza. Netanyahu also addressed the threat from ISIS and Hamas when he met yesterday with an Israel Bonds leadership delegation, where he told the group that the terror groups were all part of the same ideology with minor nuances. Former Israeli President Shimon Peres spoke at the conference today as well, where he noted the threat that terror groups present not only to Israel but to Arab countries, and that the situation offers Israel the chance to perhaps forge and work with new allies. There are reports today of movement of United Nations peacekeepers on the Syrian side of the Golan Heights. CNN reported earlier today that the UN was withdrawing its troops from the Syrian side of the Golan, that forces were seen crossing into the Israeli-controlled portion of the area today, with the UN source saying they were being pulled out for their safety. Reuters later reported that the UN peacekeepers were being relocated from 4 positions and 1 camp after recent clashes with Al-Qaeda-linked militants. This comes a few weeks after the Al-Nusra Front took peacekeepers from the Philippines and from Fiji hostage. The group from the Philippines managed to escape. The Fijian peacekeepers were released just last week. The peacekeepers belong to the UN Disengagement Observer Force, a total of 1,250 soldiers from Fiji, the Philippines, India, Nepal, Ireland, and Holland. The Times of Israel reports that Israel's new ambassador to Egypt, Chaim Koren, presented his credentials to Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi in Cairo yesterday, which now enables Koren to officially reach out to Egyptian government officials. Koren was approved for the post of envoy back in December and has been in Egypt for several months. You may recall that in September of 2011, Israel's embassy in Cairo was attacked by an angry mob, and while it has not reopened since then, some diplomatic staff has been working from an unofficial location. Egypt had recalled its ambassador to Israel, Atef Salem, in 2012 after the beginning of Operation Pillar of Defense in Gaza. He has not yet returned to Israel. Israel's foreign ministry said in a statement that Egypt's acceptance of Koren's credentials today was a sign of good relations between the two nations. And Israel announced its first female ambassador to an Arab country yesterday. Einat Schlein, who's a veteran of the foreign ministry, was named as Israel's new ambassador to Jordan. She was among 12 new appointments named, 7 of whom are women. German Chancellor Angela Merkel addressed a massive rally against anti-Semitism in Berlin yesterday. As you may have seen on IBA News, thousands turned out for the Stand Up, Never Again anti-Semitism demonstration organized by Germany's Jewish community against the rise of anti-Jewish, anti-Israel demonstrations that have taken place across Europe over the last few months during Israel's crisis with Gaza. Merkel said at the rally, "It is a monstrous scandal that people in Germany today are being abused if they are somehow recognizable as Jews or if they stand up for the state of Israel. She said, "I will not accept that, and we will not accept that." World Jewish Congress President Ronald Lauder also addressed the rally and thanked Merkel as well as German President Joachim Gauck and others for their presence there, which he said shows the world a united front. Lauder told the crowd, "Let this be the story that comes from this day, that all of us, Jews and non-Jews, stand together as one people. We stand together and say no to intolerance, no to bigotry, and no to anti-Semitism." And turning now to our Shalom TV programming for tonight, Monday, September the 15th. Coming up at 8 o'clock, Professor of History at Haifa University, Fania Oz Salzberger, talks about her book, Jews and Words, co-authored by her father, Amos Oz. And she addresses the importance of the roles of women in Jewish life. That's from the Shalom Hartman Institute in Jerusalem. And then at 9 o'clock tonight, former 60 Minutes producer and author of Stars of David, Abigail Pogrebin, sits down with Mark Golub on L'chaim to talk about her Jewish journey. That's here on Shalom TV and ShalomTV.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update from Monday, September the 15th, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.